Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inspired Adventure-preneur podcast. I am your host, Anastasia Allison. Each week, it is my mission to bring you mountain-infused inspiration to help you go from stuck to summit in every area of your life. A lot of unfulfillment in life comes from following a path that is not really our own. This process of courageously designing your own life is not easy. Following somebody else's path can lead you to a really dark place. I was completely paralyzed by the fear of not knowing how to get to where I wanted to go. But it isn't until you learn how to follow your own path that you can find true happiness in your life. Today's episode is all about trust. When I started my own journey, I struggled with feeling impatient. I wanted this new life and this new career so incredibly badly that I tried to force things to happen because I thought that if I wasn't working 100% of the time, that I was somehow not making progress, or even worse, falling behind. On the Washington Trails Association, beautiful day to visit the ice. My name is Anastasia Allison, and I am a professional adventure-preneur, which is a title that I made up for myself. I have my violin in my pack, and I'm walking across a frozen lake. I've been obsessed with the wilderness since I was a really, really little kid, and I always thought that that wasn't something that I could pursue as a career. The only thing that I could sort of put a name to for somebody who works in the outdoors is a park ranger. When you're a park ranger, that is your identity, and you're known in the community as the park ranger. I just remember when I got laid off, I felt like I was losing a piece of myself. Like I was this park ranger, and now who was I? I sort of had this obsession through my entire life. I was always outside, and I think a lot of that came about because I was really bullied as a kid, and it was when I discovered hiking and the wilderness that I realized that I could go out into the mountains or out into the woods, and nobody cared that I had short hair and that I thought I was Huckleberry Finn. The wilderness just accepted me for who I am. So when I was a little kid, I got completely obsessed with writing stories about children who had to survive in the wilderness. It was always something that was so magical to me because as a kid, I felt the most myself and the most at home when I was in the wilderness. But I always thought that it was silly to pursue a dream like that, and people, they dismissed my adventures as being somewhat childish, and so I felt like I needed to follow this traditional path even though it wasn't what I loved. And what I loved was inspiring people through these adventures in the wilderness. Every time I go out into the wilderness, I learn something new about myself. I learn something new about my relationships with the people I care about. It's the place where I feel the most at home. It's a place where I can sort of disconnect from the world, but also like reconnect with who I am. I looked at other people who were living their dream job, and I just thought, well, those people got lucky, and that's not me. I just didn't get lucky. This is where I ended up in life, and I just need to be grateful for that. I had lived as this park ranger identity, and I didn't realize how much a part of my identity that was at the time. It was the sort of the realization of a dream for me. Getting laid off was devastating for me. I was going through a lot of things at once. So I was losing my job. At the time, I was in a relationship that was failing. I had a lot of family issues that were going on simultaneously. So it was sort of the perfect storm of everything going wrong all at once. Instead of really taking the time to think about what I wanted to do next, I sort of panicked a little bit and ended up taking a job as the first female railroad police officer in the Seattle area in 20 years. And it was a really challenging position and really intimidating for me on a lot of levels. I sort of looked, okay, I'm an officer patrolling night shift alone. Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? I felt very trapped in what I was doing. And it wasn't until I essentially had this near-death experience that I realized that I had to figure out a way out of it. January 4th, 2017, I went snowshoeing with my mom and my husband, Aaron. On the way home, the truck all of a sudden just started to fishtail a little bit. We started to drift into a snowbank, and the snowbanks in January are about 10 feet tall, and then there's just a cliff on the other side of it. The truck just went into a spin. Everything just felt really surreal and in slow motion. And I remember looking across Aaron, who was sitting in the passenger seat, and all I could see was this semi-truck heading on a direct trajectory to us. And I remember thinking, this is it, we're gonna die. I felt disappointment, just this sort of disbelief, like, are you kidding me? This is how it's gonna happen. And I sort of waited for that impact to happen. And it never did. To this day, I have no idea how we didn't get hit and die. But somehow it missed us. For me, it was this incredible glimpse into this moment that most people don't ever get to come back from because the truck hits them. Like, why am I doing something in my life that doesn't feel fulfilling if it could all be gone in half a second? And I chose to take that experience as a sign that I needed to change my life and really go for it. If you'll recall, I was extremely stuck and unfulfilled in my career. I had these huge aspirations of wanting to do something big, and I felt like I had this just calling and this mission to serve and inspire people, and I didn't know how to get there. Having that near fatal car accident, it shook that illusion of stability. In fact, it completely wiped it out. This is something that I wrote for my podcast because it helped me to cope with what had happened and to really figure out what were the lessons that I needed to learn from that experience and how could I apply them to my life. My mom and Aaron and I had the most wonderful day climbing Union Peak. I wish that I could detach our amazing summit bid from the almost car accident, but I can't. The same things that make having a glimpse into what might have been feel so achingly sad are also the things that make our lives so grippingly beautiful. For me, the missing piece is sharing what I've learned with others, swapping ideas, helping them reach their own unique summit. Those are the ideas and thoughts that keep me up at night with brimming over excitement. As much as I love planning my own adventures, my mind is obsessed with wanting to give the same experiences to the thousands of other people in the world who crave them. I don't know entirely what this looks like for me yet. I only know that it is what I truly love and where I want to direct my energy. Now the real task is to go bigger. Obviously, I do not want anybody else to have to experience a terrifying near car wreck in order to achieve mental nirvana, but I still want others to have the ability to look at their own life and know that when the time comes to brace for that impact, whether it is soft or slow or quick or expected, that when it comes, they will feel both the same sense of deep, genuine joy and indescribable grief at the comprehension of the miracle of being alive. When it comes down to it, all we really can do is try our best at life and keep climbing towards that glittering, burning sun.